versatile. He's going to be shocked too, just as we had a guest last week who was saying, "Why are you talking to me? Are you talking about
Are you
me?
sure you're talking
Are
about
you
me?
sure?" We're talking about versatile broadcaster, an established broadcaster who learns to cross the T's and dot the I's with perfection. And he's a mentor and a coach par excellence. Is a face familiar and a voice too known. In life, we have different trips and bounds. Boundaries are so wide that you find it difficult sometimes. Where do you fit or place yourself? Our guest today found his footing in broadcasting years ago, and also not only broadcasting, he's knowledgeable in our culture and language of Yoruba, well detailed. I recall the days of yore, he would come into the studio with a copy of the English bulletin, and without writing this transcription or translation, he would go on to read the Yoruba news.
Wow.
With that. Oh, believe. And it's shocked that we noticed all that and we said, who is this man?
Who's this guy?
Who is this guy? And he was always smooth with it. His voice, when he talks now, you know it's a broadcast voice. And he did it with all perfection. He's knowledgeable also, after being detailed in study of Yoruba, also studied literature and English, so there's a massive combination of our guest today. Veteran, as I said earlier. He grew from the ranks, established himself as a programs coordinator, programs controller, manager programs, principal programs producer, and he collectively, with a few others, brought concepts together on a radio station called Radio Lagos in those days.
Radio Lagos.
Oh, no. I'm telling you, Tiwa, and he does that with glee and happiness. You'll learn more from him listening to him. He's a whole lot of communicator. And currently, he's a general manager of Mainland FM, 98.3 FM in Lagos,
Nigeria.
And I'm proud to say he's just one of the few of the generation still left doing his active job as a practitioner in the broadcast industry. Mr. Aderoju Adepoju, glad to have you on this show today.
My pleasure too.
Glad to have you. And his radio name is Aderoju.
The road.
Aderoju. And they used to call him then Baba the Yoruba Boogie. And that's deep,
We're going to delve into that.
Yeah, I'm still introducing him.
Please go ahead.
Let me feel free.
Please go ahead.
Let me be happy doing
please.
this. Because not only is he my boss, okay, as I said, he mentored and coached many of us in the seasoned way. I'm always happy to say Aderoju is not just a boss, he's a brother.
Yeah.
You can learn from any day. Call him up. I've called him up several times before, comparing, and I asking him, how do I pronounce this particular name? And he's so far to put on that name. And these are things I remember. And I'm so glad to have you, Aderoju. Thank you so much for coming on Boom Radio.
Thanks so much. It's a fantastic arena for me.
Oh, wow.
The moment I got out of the car, it's like this.
You are transformed.
Yeah, exactly. This is a different weather. And moving into the edifice again, you see the air, warmth, I'm so glad.
Thank you,
so
sir.
glad that you have taken broadcasting to this level.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. And for those of you watching us, we'd like to let you know, if you're watching on YouTube, we're also streaming on Twitter and Instagram. Just search for Boom Bedu on Facebook, and on Twitter, Boom Radio NG. That's Boom Radio NG because we represent Nigeria, and we don't play around. We represent Nigeria. We are proudly Nigerian. And we thank you, our diaspora listeners and watchers. God bless you. God guide you. God keep you. On that note, we'd like to just let you know that the Boombar is still the Boombar. Because a few people are saying, normally you're supposed to be talking politics. We talk everything. Sports, entertainment, and everything. Yeah. Now, Tokunbo Ojekunle here is an Arsenal fan. And now Arsenal fans are happy because things have changed.
Now.
The last time we spoke, a lot of them were hiding their heads like this Arteta must go. Now everybody's like, Arteta is a good coach, sir.
No.
Which team do you support, sir?
Chelsea.
Chelsea. Real kings of London. I know that Arsenal don't like hearing
They
that.
just sold you off.
Let's wait and see.
They just-
You know, so it is actually chance for Chelsea now with the crisis in Ukraine,
I know.
and now it has a trip down to London, and a lot of people seem to think that the world is that big. The world is no longer a big place; it's a village now.
It's a village now.
It's a village.
That's
So
it.
one thing, if someone can
That's it.
cough or sneeze
Mm.
in Kiev,
Yeah.
and the person in Port Harcourt will catch cold.
Exactly.
That's what's happening now.
That's where we are today, technologically. Yeah.
So, but at least we would not say that technology is all bad. We know that a
No,
lot
no,
of things,
no,
it's
no,
brought a lot
no.
of things for us.
Oh,
So,
yes.
on that note, we will come back to your Chelsea affiliations. But let's take a quick look at what's happening around the world
World.
in Nigeria, and let's get
Yes.
your thoughts on this as we delve into this matter. So, of course, remember, guys, that it's still the Boombar on your Boom Radio NG, Shola Rogers, Aderoju Adepoju, aka the Raj. You see?
Yeah.
And this is the beauty. This is the beauty of broadcasting. And Tokunbo. You see, I can call him Tokunbo. He's not angry. He doesn't feel any
In those
way.
days, we call our seniors
First
by-
name.
Yeah, yeah.
Why- during performances, right?
Exactly.
On
In
air,
fact,
in the
yeah,
studio.
yeah, put the Mr. there. You remember, God bless his soul, Jide. You know, God bless his soul, Jide.
Adekusibe. And then the first GM, Radio Lagos, you know, I remember 1979 or so during the UPN, NPN, something like that. You know, we will go out with this Volkswagen with just one walkie-talkie.
Walkie-talkie.
And then after this law, I say, Aderoju Adepoju over to you. I will say, BC Lawrence, my GMO.
The BC Lawrence.
Yes.
This is Lawrence. This
Go
law.
on, go on. Yes. I will just say, Osheo, BC Lawrence. You see?
I know.
My Oga.
I know a lot of people will feel that I am over belaboring a certain issue that at Arise TV.
Okay.
But I will continue to talk about it until people understand how broadcasting to the live studio. Ruben, she called your name. And you said she's mannerless live on air. She was just doing her job.
Broadcasting for you.
That's broadcasting.
When you are outside the studio,
You revert. You can
bring back the
revert.
respect, but
But on the job,
yeah, that is
during
it.
performance.
I have been some kind of stubborn boy, I won't lie. I play with my parents that way. I call my mom her first name.
Okay.
And whenever I say that, she says, you don't have respect. And we'll joke about it. So when I got close to the Ojekunles and the Jones Husseins, the Femi Olus of this world, I would relish the time we're in the studio. I say, so Tokunbo, what do you...
That's how it should be.
And it's always fun.
It's not.
But I know, does that mean I respect him less? Does that mean
No,
that
at all.
he has lost any of his ranks or anything? You know, so what do you see about this, sir?
You see, when you are really grounded in this broadcasting industry, you come to appreciate why A should be A, and which may be different from what obtains in the society. You understand? You know, it is part of what makes broadcasting tick. You know, calling, no matter your age and you know, the age differential, it is. When I listen to some stations nowadays, Mr. I
In the
was
studio.
wrong.
In the
What's
studio.
wrong? I mean, you know, and so many things. You cough into the mic and you say, excuse me. That's a way of asking whoever is here. Even you, press the off button and then you go on.
And you mute your microphone,
Yeah,
then
you mute
continue.
it. Yeah, you continue. And this case of, I think I got it right. Why a broadcaster, you are praising yourself if you get the name.
I think I got it right.
I
And
think
you are
it's
also
something
saying
that
that
you
You're
should.
thinking.
Yes.
You're thinking.
I know, you know, things have changed. Things have changed.
All right, so let's dive right into
All right.
the issues of the day, and a lot of things are being said. Okay, there's a piece of news from the world of politics that might sound interesting. The headline is from Repulse, Nigeria,
Okay.
and it's a political story, and it has to do with Tinubu and Atiku. And the Tinubu we're talking about is the former governor of Lagos,
Yeah.
Senator, or they like to call him now, the Jagaban Borgu.
Borgu.
Yes, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So there's a screaming headline here from Repulse Nigeria, and he says, I turned down Tinubu's request to be my running mate in 2007. Atiku. This is what Atiku said, and he disclosed it at a forum yesterday. For me, what is the relevance of this 2007
And then
action that you
2000
claim you carried out in 2022?
2022. You see?
That the man is also running for the same position that you're gunning for.
Is it an open way of cutting down the wings of the man? I wouldn't know. But you see, when you now picking on defects of somebody to raise up your own
Your own pride, your ego,
standing.
your brand.
I don't
yeah.
think it's maybe because this is politics in Nigeria, so that maybe it can go. But
can go.
yeah, it can go in Nigeria.
In Nigeria.
Yeah, it can go. But you see, any right-thinking person will say, and what's the relevance
To the
he
matter
asked
at
him,
hand.
You turn him down, and so the man should not grow again, or he shouldn't
It should
aspire
stay
again,
stagnant.
or I wouldn't know.
And
But
you know-
like I said, this is Nigeria.
Yeah, when you were reading that, I was reading, not I was getting was from the writer itself, the man who wrote the story. I wasn't really seeing article in that slide. He said it, but the way it has been put down in the tabloid, mischief around the writer. What is he trying to portray? If at all you even
Exactly.
got the gist of it, couldn't you have looked for another way? But give and take, if that had been said, just as the root said, I think my question should be, why now? What are you doing? What are you gaining? What do you want to gain from that? At this 99th hour, that we are all geared to and ready to go.
Yes.
But opposition will always be opposition, and they always say that Nigeria politicians talk this way. They are shaking hands and dining together.
Yeah.
So when we remember that, when we read these things, don't let's get into our DNA or our bloodstream, because there's a way they settle things at the end of the day. But there is relevance. He is still relevant. Jagaban is still relevant.
Yeah, quite.
And many others are still relevant.
Yes.
And the race is open. So the race is open, I think.
Yes, of course. We are at the bar and we have the drinks, although everybody has water. I'm wondering what's going on. But it's okay. It's allowed these days.
But you can get water at the bar as well.
It's allowed, Abi.
It's not banned.
Yeah, I have water too.
Well,
Okay.
you know the taste of water, so
Would you like to drink some
no, I'm
water?
fine. I'm fine.
This is not a brown girl in the ring. This is H2O in a bottle.
It's sparkling
Not
water.
of-
Sparkling
okay.
water. Sparkling water.
Okay, so this concerns us as broadcasters. President Buhari has approved the reconstitution of the governing board of the National Broadcasting Commission, the NBC.
NBC, yeah.
But the cable is another interesting news platform.
Yeah.
They have chosen a different headline. DSS rep included as Buhari approves reconstitution of NBC board. That is the angle that they have come from.
Okay.
What do you think?
DSS.
Yeah. It's not part of the board. A
Yes.
member. Not
As a member,
But he's
they
going to represent
the DSS.
DSS.
yeah.
as an
There's
institution.
also a representative of the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, and the DG
Yes.
of the commission are also members. And excuse me, other members, apart from those people who will be representing those blocks, Iyan Ichuku Dike, Wada Ibrahim, Adeshola Undu, Olaniyo Badmus, Bashir Ibrahim, Obiora Ilo, Ahmad Sajo, and Bayo Erikitola.
Yes. The inclusion of DSS, I wouldn't know what it's what it's supposed to serve as a gatekeeper or
On the board of the broadcast
of a
commission.
broadcaster, yes. So even if I know if we have people who still make mistakes, shouldn't be the job of someone within, and not how would a DSS personnel flow with
Broadcasters
exactly
in the broadcast
you know some
setting.
you know, there are some things that we do talk about which may sound alien to them, but in the broadcast industry it's normal. It's normal. And I don't know why the inclusion of the DSS
On the board of
on
the
board,
NBC.
but you know it.
My question really is this: what's the function of the NBC?
Mhm.
What's the function of the NBC?
That's another issue
If
entirely.
we look at it critically, I think somehow that government has usurped the functions. If at all, government has taken over completely. And we expect, or I personally, let me talk from a personal point, right? I expect that the NBC should be solidly independent.
Exactly.
Should be. But somebody said to me that, no, that can't happen. Even in the highly democratized situations, you don't have it. And I said to him, when we had cases in those days, okay, and we still have some of them now, Aderoju will tell me because he's more active now. What you get is a call-up from the NBC telling you that that man should either be removed immediately from that program, or this has just happened, and tell that don't use that presenter again. No. And my worry is that it's so large. It's broadcasting we are talking about.
Exactly.
It's a profession that is noble. Absolutely noble. Now, if the government really wants that, is organizations that own electronic media and all that to function, okay, as a body that allows free speech, or it allows us to divergent views or opinions, they should try as much as possible to let that happen. And how would they let that happen? And believe and trust in every organization it is to cut and keep and do the gatekeeping. Let them do their gatekeeping. This inclusion of the is scary, because it means therefore that we cannot take any decision that has to do with our own sole professional competence. We have to defer to him or whoever is representing
the DSS.
Yes, we have to at every point in time defer to him and ask him, what do you think about? He's going to get to that point, because he or she would be the one liaising directly with the government about that thing. Okay, yes. I know what they are trying to do. It's always, but the gatekeeping thing is becoming too stifling for me. It's okay, but it's becoming too stifling for me. I don't understand it. If you have a body, okay, the police would have the public relations. How do you put
the PCRC?
Okay. The PCRC. They have it, and it is a committee of people from the community as well.
Exactly.
Who are then we understand why the community is like that, why that board is like that. It's not set up to look at the police activities. It's a different thing from that. So broadcasting for me, we've been through this before. And Aderoju will also share issues when we were under the military, and the very many times we had to face the military one-on-one, and you drive in and they're asking you to get up in your car, stand in one place or kneel down, when
person, he will want to apply his own rule, which may be against the NBC code. Exactly. Because maybe the fault you have found may not be the presenter's mistake. It's something that was lifted from a newspaper, and so they say, don't allow that person to. If you do, you will lose your license.
There are a lot of questions that are welling up in my mind. You make mention of regulating the electronic media. you, sir, have also talked about when a presenter has taken his or her news from a source in the print media.
Yeah.
Who regulates the print media? Who regulates the print
we know
media?
for electronic is the NBC.
Yes.
So who regulates the print media?
I think it's more their body.
For
Yeah,
us
the-
now,
the-
for us now
yes.
as broadcasters, radio, TV, or electronic, as the case may be now, we if it wasn't for a license, this station would be a terrestrial station. If it wasn't for a broadcast
I
license.
understand, yes.
But if I want to set up a newspaper, all I need to do is buy the equipment and employ people to publish. How come that major part of journalism is not treated the way the electronic media is treated? I've always wondered, and I have an opportunity to ask you now. What are your thoughts on
They
this?
wants to go first.
Let me, you see, the print media, at least I have known of some situations where that media was closed down.
Yes, we've heard about things like that.
Yes.
Copies being burnt,
Exactly.
issues not being released, all of
Yes,
that. Yeah.
Newspapers meant for the northern part, there was a sort of
Yeah.
action.
Clamp down on it.
Clamp
Yeah,
down on
we've
it, and
heard
they
of
lost
such
it.
actions.
But then, the way the electronic media is treated is
Yeah,
quite different.
it's different.
And do we say it's who you know? That is a power play? Me, I wouldn't know. But you see, and what you even find inside the newspapers, some mistakes there. Let's talk of a sentence. There's this one on Papa Oshodi, very, very nice to read. When you read, you feel
You're talking about the Guardian.
The Guardian. But the time when this Mr. Simply Mr. started, I enjoyed the paper. And then there are some columnists who will treat your language, everything. Cut out. I know of cut out. Ladbon.
Yeah.
We have them there. We have, but the
Language parade, I think.
yes.
Uyo was
Then
doing language
there's
parade
this
there.
something Ogunaike of Concord by then. It is also on a language. But the question, not to run away from it, is why is it that the way we treat the initiated, the way we treat the uninitiated, the initiated should not be treated so?
Exactly.
That is just it.
I stay with you, Aderoju, and I want us to also notice something that has been. I think both have historical antecedents so strong in our minds. You talked about newspaper houses being locked up in those days. Yeah, very true. We know. Even we also talked about radio stations not being harassed but being shown the power of the gun. Look, we're in charge. We own you if you do not know, And there were so many innuendos passed in those days. Now, there was this question you asked brings to mind the need for formation of broadcast organization or media people. The strength of the newspaper guys, very tough.
It is.
They have a very, very tough following,
Yeah.
and they have an internalized process that monitors them. You could even report any journalist to that body.
Yes.
You understand? You could, and I'm seeing it from when you have a solid front. Okay, it's not opposition. You are not in a tangle with government. All we are saying is that you need a front that bears a semblance of how you operate, and the noble people that occupy the profession, they are not riffraffs, they are well detailed and studied people. So you can now, when the government sees that in you, there is some sort of let's talk to them, let's talk with the body, let's share ideas with them and their body. However, which is key, the country, a country operates and deserves the kind of media that runs within it. We have been through so many levels of things happening, security, insecurity issues, and also which borderline on our cultural ethics and tribal existence. And we have so many analysts these days who can immediately turn those things to advantage to say whatever is right or wrong. It's still subjective, however. But we need to know that the integrity of the sovereignty of the nation is important. And if we can say to ourselves that we have an internalized body to checkmate our excesses amongst us, just as the print people have, then there will be little for NBC to do. People will begin to see NBC in relative terms like, my brothers are there, let me speak with them. They, and they have actually over time proven to be headmasters of some sort with a cane in their hand, and they are giving you fines you have to pay. You get it. But they always say they discuss with you first, give you a first chance, a second chance. The first and second chances still look a little bit domineering, but we can clap for it because it had worked for a while. But in my mind, I think that we need to, as broadcasters, come together. There is a movement that has been done. There are papers or bills being sent to the Assembly and to the Senate, and they are looking into it, and okay, maybe with time we'll get to that point. But now, this is the situation. Everybody's got to be everybody's watchguard. That's the way I look at it.
Okay, so do you want to respond to that?
Yes, I want to believe that if you give this electronic media the freedom, in quotes, to operate, knowing full well that they already know the do's and don'ts of the profession. NBC, like Tokunbo said, we have little or nothing to do. This issue of regulating, if the electronic media is self-regulated, we know what to dish out. We know what should not come on air. We know all these things. And, let me go back to that inclusion again. There are some things that are purely norm. But the other person may not see like that because it may be at the defensive end, defending the powers that be. But broadcasting is just to educate, to enlighten, to entertain, and then, but as at now, listeners know those who give them the right thing. That's for me.
So, you're listening to the Boombar, and it is the Legend series. We have Aderoju Adepoju in studio with us, and of course, get your biro and your paper because it's a learning session for everybody. We are really bearing it all, and we're speaking the truth because everything we're doing is for posterity's sake. It's for tomorrow. It doesn't even matter. Sir, so before we move away from this, because I want to still dwell on the disparity in the print and the electronic media. Before we move away from this, that means that we're all agreeing that there's not really a need for the government, who has set up a body solely to regulate broadcasting in Nigeria, to set up another body to regulate the print media, or expand their scope from being the National Broadcasting Commission to being the National Journalism Commission, which now is all-encompassing. Do you get where I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you. But do you know that even this, like if there is a change in nomenclature, then it will not be for, that body will not be solely for electronic media
alone.
Let's have the inclusion of the print media.
Exactly.
One.
That is the point.
Exactly. So we have just like in the Senate or House of Representatives, we have the subcommittees. You look for this, look that, and then that's all. That's
the point that I've been trying to make for so many years. Before we leave this comparison and inclusion matter, there's one thing that I like about the print media that I must bring, and it has to do with the business aspect of broadcasting. Now, for our listeners and our viewers who might not understand, we crave your indulgence. So, the broadcast media in Nigeria is a credit-based system.
Exactly.
Every broadcaster, except for one or two, would sell their airtime in advance on credit.
Credit, yes.
The adverts that you hear on your radio stations, they're on credit. At least 98% of them are. Except my senior colleagues here will tell me I am completely off. But my little experience,
Yes.
I found that most of the jobs that we carried were on credit. And we are at the mercy of the agencies. We had to wait for them 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and in some cases, years before they pay us.
Yeah.
But I noticed in the print media, they don't carry adverts on credit. In the print media, you pay upfront. Even those of you who are entitled to agency, you get your agency upfront, and the business is sealed, and everybody moves on.
Okay.
What are your thoughts about this, sir? And what can we do to correct this in broadcasting?
I know some years back, at least in my former station, that we mooted that idea that, look, if you give us your adverts, latest maybe 2 weeks after, we should get our...
They should get paid.
But you see, this morning, I opened the Guardian. I saw...
Advert after advert.
Wow.
Full page adverts.
Yes, and you know that in some cases also, even if you pay let's say last week,
Your advert
today's
might
Wednesday,
not go.
It might not go. They schedule you for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and yet they still get patronage from these people.
Yes.
Why is the electronic media different from theirs? That's just it. Because at times you play adverts, people around you say, you people, you
are
make
making money.
Whereas they don't know that they are sweating. So I think that's another area.
How do we
have to-
correct this?
You know, we just have to maybe either the agent of the federal government, that is the NBC, or
Because shouldn't this be one of the things that the NBC is doing for the broadcast media? The print people who don't have a government parastatal overseeing them, they don't have this problem.
I know.
Shouldn't this be one of the things that, shouldn't it be one of their mandates?
But even I think this an area born itself, Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, we have to come into.
Yeah.
They tried some years back,
But
pegging
it didn't
to
work.
It didn't work. You know, this is Nigeria.
let me just, it's a very interesting
Honestly.
angle, Shola, because with due respect, I humbly say I played at least some marketing roles in one or two organizations. And I can tell you straight away that has been the headache. But I remember, or I recall, the history behind newspaper houses getting away with a lot of things. If my memory, won't fail me, we had a problem just as electronics had at the same time the print industry also had, of agencies owing us. And it was so bad, both ways. In fact, it was very untidy for the print. In that I remember, many people went months without being paid salaries. I recall, and there was one particular publishing house. I told them, I said, okay, if that's the way you agencies want to run, with effect from so date, if you do not come with your money up front, we will not run any advert for you. It was like a joke. And that publication started it. And before you knew what was happening, they held meetings among themselves and they all agreed. Some couldn't do it because they needed all the crumbs on the table. But there were ones, the others took it boldly and said, no, take it back. Where's the money? Blah, blah. We don't mind running empty prints. Don't worry. We're fine at the end of the day. The same thing was happening to electronic medium then at that particular time. And they would owe you, look, let me quickly add one to it that was really painful for me. An independent producer who is running around for content to get on air and do anything will go to the agencies. If all the agency guys are listening, I don't know if it still operates, but I know that it's still the same procedure. We'll go around to agencies and tell them, this is a concept I have. Is it possible you get a sponsor? And the agency will tell them, you know what, I'll put it on the radio station first. Let us first listen to it. Let us hear it. This person had done a dummy or a pilot and giving you to go and listen. You said no. Go to the radio stations and give it to them. If you can buy airtime or discuss with them, they will give you airtime. And the guy comes to the head of the station and talks to him nicely and says, look, this and this. I say, the question is, are you sure they will support you when you are? They will. The head of station gets the approval of the CEO. Okay, let's give him a try. It's a good program. And that program runs for a quarter.
13 episodes.
Nothing on it from these agencies. In fact, by the time the guy goes back to the agency, he sees another face there. Somebody else, the person promised him has moved to another agency. And he's just left dangling there. So we're actually facing a lot of problems with producers. Online producers who are struggling to make, and we made enemies out of us, But you had to explain to them, I don't run this place. This is not my station. I need money to pay. We have to do generator, maintain that, do all that. But they are not listening. But the agencies who are not forthcoming, they were not helping. So when the publishing houses discovered, oh, that's their trick, this is what we'll do collectively. Let us throw those things back at them. And then their clients began to get worried. What's happening? Before now, you would pay this and put it there, and they said, no, we have to pay first. No, I can't give you money first. So it was a kind of trust between the client and the publisher, as well as the radio or television stations. The trust had been eroded. So we lost it there. And it's still the same thing now. So right now, Aderoju, what you find is good content don't get sponsors.
Yes, it's true.
It's about connection.
Who you know.
So that's a fact. Good content don't get sponsors. And it's a big commercial breakdown in our industry today. It's a big one. Huge one.
I think we just have to go back to the basics in terms of revenue generation. What comes from the advertising agencies, from companies, individuals, and so on and so forth. I want to believe that it's not too late for us. But the challenge I foresee is getting those stations, the managers, the CEOs,
to all agree.
If somebody normally tells me, look, if you pull out your program, the air will not be vacant. The music will go on.
Exactly.
But then when you now consider about the running cost again, it's another thing entirely. So there's a need for the operators to come close. It is the loneliness of the snake that leads it to death. They are together. You run away when you see them in multitude. They are multitudes.
But when it's the same, one's just one moving around.
So basically, we are all in agreement that the people in the print media are better organized and they are in sync, as against the electronic media where we don't seem to come together. Now, it's sad for me because I've been on different sides of the divide. I've worked as an independent producer. I have worked as a regular presenter. And I have been in management. I have set up 1 or 2 radio stations. So I see different angles of this story. And it is very sad. You talked about running costs now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about running costs. Today we're talking about broadcasting and we're talking about you and how you've come through the ranks. Let's talk about running costs. Today, diesel is over 700 naira. I remember when the last terrestrial station that I worked at, when diesel went from 80 naira, which was our projection,
Yeah.
and it went to 140 naira. I know I almost had a heart attack because there was no way I could go back to the owners to say,
your budget is really.
and now we're talking 700 naira
Naira.
per liter of diesel. So, how are you coping?
Let's take it from the angle of supply. Even when you have your money,
To
do
get
you-
to
do
get
you
the right
get
product.
it- do you get it at the right time?
Time, yeah.
Because the seller has so many.
There's demand.
Demand is higher than supply.
Supply.
That's just it. You see, so it's a matter of incurring more and more and more and more, like inverter, solar, generator. You know, see, because of just one entity that is not readily available.
Power.
Power. So that is it. Before something just crept into my mind now. You see the print media. You talked about them being well organized. 70 or 85% of those owners, you know, these are private enterprises.
Yes.
But in case of the electronic, you know, mixture of private
And government. Yeah.
So you find it difficult to come together.
Mm.
The print media, because of the heat they absorb, they quickly agree on certain decisions, but it's increasingly difficult for the electronic media to do so.
Tokunbo.
I think added to that and going forward is the need for us to be professional in everything we do.
Mm.
Exactly.
We, over time, I've said to a few of my colleagues that whenever you have to go cap in hand to ask government for this and that, as an electronic medium that belongs to government,
Yeah.
you've sold something of your plate. And that is true.
Mm.
Now, it does not say, however, that ownership belonging to private organizations, is a saint. It has its own hiccups too.
Yeah.
Because the owner tells you, Shola, as director of programs, and talks to Aderoju as head of content, director of content, that I'm sending somebody to you guys.
Yeah.
And
Is your operations
you know,
director?
you have to do something. And you test the person and know that this person has no concept in the head, really. And you are in charge of concept development. This person can read news. You are in charge of programs. Where do you put this person? Well, because it's coming from the owner.
Yeah.
These are things that shape you.
Exactly.
But on the other hand, for the print, I realized over time also that professionalism has waned based on the things we read.
Mm.
And unfortunately, it's more exposed online. Our bloggers are good, they get content stories, but they do not know how to write to disseminate these concepts. And the other shocking thing is this, maybe they are listening. Everything you blog online is read from the diaspora.
Mm-hmm.
And it is with what you write and the standard of what you are giving out that they assess the whole of the journalism profession in Nigeria. The assessment could come from anywhere in the world, even from Ukraine, interestingly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what you write that carries them
Exactly.
along. So I think generally on A side or B side, we need to get our people, if there's anything like professionalized, we have to. We have to start playing to the gallery. Things are no longer the same. Very soon, Aderoju, I'm going to ask you about standards and how you drove the concepts of a radio station that is predominantly English and Yoruba.
These are the issues. These are the issues. Well, we're sorry about that. This is still Boom Radio, and it's the Boombar, your Boom Radio NG. We are live from Lagos, Nigeria. We'd like to apologize for whatever that is. What we do here is that even when there's power,
Yeah.
we just go on the generator, especially when we're going live, because you cannot afford to have these outages. You cannot afford to have it's bad for programming when people are listening and there's a break and all of that. You lose.
Yes.
You lose.
Tune up.
People will tune up because there are options now. There's the option of going to a streaming platform and just listen to music. So why should I listen? But again, when you're able to capture people, you don't want to lose them. So we know that we're battling a lot of things. It's a strong one here.
There's something we all commit. Maybe I should call it a sin. Up to this present moment, as I think the public power just came, Abby.
I hope
so.
So because it looks like our guy would always want to switch over.
Okay. You know what? Let's say at home now, if that thing happened, the children will shout, "Up NEPA!"
Up NEPA.
And NEPA is no more. So we continue to hammer on NEPA. That's why I say maybe it's a sin.
No, it's not a sin, the road. It's not a sin, sir. No, I don't think it's a sin. What has happened is that they have actually succeeded in damaging our psyche over time.
Exactly. That's
We grew up knowing ECN.
Just yesterday, I wrote something on my timeline. I say ECN, jumping ovation.
Ovation, yes.
The title is Ovations.
Okay.
Yeah.
ECN, jumping ovation. NEPA is shouting ovation.
Okay.
What's the other one?
NERC.
No. The one that came after NEPA is disco now.
No, not disco. There's this.
Holding, power holding,
PHCN.
Yeah.
I said PHCN. That is dancing ovation. So you see.
And that reminds me, the Roach was a master of writing satires. When we're back to, the Roach had a way of putting those things together. But we'll come back to that. The issue, I'm
Yes.
worried about the standards that are falling. Or somebody said, did we have standards in the first place? Did we have standards?
You will agree with me that we had. In the days of Martin Soko, Ndakuba, Bagudu Bida, the Mrs. Aladina, she used to be BC Onobolu, Nick, yes, all these people, at least in the days of redifusion, when in my primary school days, that's where I developed
Your
this
interest in broadcasting.
So when you listen to them, the flow, the diction, pronunciation, observation of all these punctuation marks in news reading, all these things, without seeing, there was this man, Tokunbo Ojekunle, NBC Ibadan. Without seeing him, excuse me, something that he was fond, excuse me, that he was fond of saying. I didn't know how it got into my head. At Ibadan, NBC Ibadan, maybe some seconds too, after the PPA, we say, I'm sorry, this is how far we can go. We now link up with our national station in Lagos, watches shock protector with Inca block, keep accurate time. I didn't know that was a product, Inca block. So all these things, who taught me? I listened, and it came to me just like that. So standards has changed.
You talked about redifusion.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on redifusion?
It's it has this garita-like size.
Okay. Made of wood.
Maybe wood, wood or plastic. So there is this station somewhere. So everybody, and then the wiring poles.
Yeah.
Then everybody is connected. For you to get all these things, you have to pay. Maybe 1 shilling per year or so.
By the way, redifusion was through redifusion that we had BBC transmitting into Nigeria in those days. And Radio Nigeria, what they did was link up with that particular one line that goes into every home. And so you could have BBC News, then you begin to have their local productions coming.
Yes.
Yeah, and I remember that redifusion also began the era of radio education, teaching on radio.
On radio, yes.
Teaching on radio.
They have educational service.
Educational service,
yes.
thank you.
Yeah.
They had specific times. So you talked about standard. We had standards in those days. Where did we get it wrong? Where did we miss it?
Is it after independence? Is it political maneuvering? Is it lack of dedication? Is it like you rightly put it the other time? If I commit any mistake or any error, I have somebody
To answer to.
that somebody say no, because of that you can't remove him. Let him be there. He's representing our own interests. That's it. You see, dedication, absent-mindedness. When you listen to a news on air, you easily detect that something is wrong. Even the psychological aspect of that reader, it shows readily.
Wow,
so then you now say, why is it that that man didn't rehearse, or what is the
What's the problem?
problem of financial incapacitation?
Yeah.
Because when you see
stumbling processes.
three something product, we call it 3 naira, because that is what you have left in your pocket.
Went through
So
that before.
To be candid, we need to reorientate ourselves.
We need to reorientate ourselves.
Exactly.
It's important.
And this profession is Mr. Nakedness. If you get it right, you will be praised. There's no way you want to hide. It will show.
There's no hiding place.
No hiding place in broadcasting. It will show.
It will show.
Yeah.
My thoughts vary a lot. They wonder a lot about the old times and the new times. The new times are the old seasons. And that's the fact that the younger ones these days tell you, I can't make much money on radio. They put sad to it. I cannot make much money on television. Okay? How did you people do it in those days? What kept us going? I mean, I meant to ask.
Yes.
I will ask
You
a
see,
series of people while we grew together.
The first factor is contentment. That is one. Then 2, hard work. You and I, nobody told us before we started scripting. No, I just go like Tony Street, Allen Avenue. I look at the companies there, go back to the station. Okay, this one, they sell so products. I script and do the repackaging, recording, and then
Give it to them.
give it to them. When did you come here? I saw it. Good. And it's okay.
This is what we want.
Your commercial section, come there. That is it. So, you see, you talk about scripting.
Yes.
A broadcaster, even in your station, you should not be limited to your department alone. I know a number of times I have opened the station. That was when you had to put on the transmission, wait for 3 minutes for the tone to be sent, and then come back to the live studio when the city, what they call it, city or something,
the city or
so you continue your program, but that is no more there. And then we have simplified everything. We have simplified everything now, and even despite the technological advancement that has rubbed on broadcasting, you don't see it, glaringly. You understand? You don't see it.
When I was charged with recruiting for a radio station, a few years ago, apart from the people that we had auditioned initially, we had to get another wave of people, another set. And the biggest problem that I noticed is that most of our graduates are illiterate. I make bold to say it. People might not like to hear it, but it's the truth. People cannot write cover letters. Graduates.
That is it.
Their CVs are not properly structured. Their cover letters are not well written. Then when you now finally screen them and bring them in, you screen from maybe 200 or 300, and that is my own weakness. I don't outsource. I went through all the responses by myself. We were able to screen, and we brought in 12. Of the 12, 8 of them could not even answer the questions that we were asking them. We asked one to write an essay. Have you experienced this? And what does it tell you about the future of broadcasting? I don't know if you have experienced this, but what are your experiences in the area of recruiting? And
when I and Tooks were together, there was this, this annual report or containing all aspects of the economy. Is it no retrospectives? Something I've forgotten. Though we handed over this thing to a graduate, go and do it. 3 hours to Happy New Year. See, let's see what you have recorded. Then what? Grammar, sentence construction,
diction.
No, not even the announcer that helped did a very marvelous work, but the sentence,
the whole content itself.
Yes.
What was this person's
a graduate of English?
English.
Exactly.
And this person could not write a script.
We were put it asunder. Let me put it that way.
3 hours to
airtime. We had to
it was very scary.
start scripting. Fresh one. Fortunately
was it
enough.
begin again?
No, I said English.
It was a begin again.
It is on radio. You hear knowing fully well. I said, what is fully well or knowing fully well?
Knowing fully well.
There are some. Look. God will help us.
But the other thing I would like to add really is this: how do we process the learning process? I've had cases where students who read mass communication, that is, in Nigerian parlance, would come to the studio, and they will be so surprised at what they call a microphone. They had never seen a microphone before. They had never been to the walls of a studio before, enter a studio and feel it. I recall very vividly. And then it was painful, very painful. So this particular institution that these kids were passing out from then, one of their lecturers came on a visit. I think they were on internship. So they came on a visit and we sat the man down. We thought we were going to talk to him about something else. And we said, we don't understand the teaching procedure of your institution. Your kids have never seen a microphone before. And these are kids that have passed out as qualified as you give them. And the guy said, we are sorry, we don't even have a studio to teach them with. So I noticed that the processes of processing the learning things we give to the skills could also be weak from the other end.
It's possible.
That is,
it is.
lecturers may not have the idea of how these things are done, and it's a collective bargain. At the end of the day, you garbage in, you garbage out. So I discovered Aderoju.
Thank you. You see, the facilitator or the lecturer or the teacher, how vast is he? You don't give what you don't have. It's never done. So, and then this attitude of this nonchalant attitude of whether you you like it or
like
not,
you take it
and
as
then
it is.
inducement from the part of the students. That's another thing. So whether just put something on paper,
Mhm.
forget about it, you are okay,
You're
you have
okay.
passed. Then what about the content, the syllabus? Does it reflect the yearnings of our society? Or we are just saying, okay, this is what comes from UK, this is what comes from Canada or US, and then you must learn it. Do we
localize these
localize
things?
it, domesticate it to make? Whereas here in Nigeria now, people want to listen to what pertains to them. So you cannot be talking of winter clinical here in Nigeria when you use. So I think let us revise the syllabus. Then who are those to operate the syllabus? Are they well qualified? What's the depth of their knowledge about broadcasting?
It scares me. Is there any hope at all? With all this myriad of things we have posited today, is there any hope at all?
As we're talking, it's not that 100% of them are bad.
Yeah.
We still have some stations that do it the way it should be done. And then, coupled with the fact that one day, you don't force me to listen to a radio station where I get nothing in terms of value. So, as time goes on, listeners will be shifting from bad eggs to good eggs. That's just it.
Water will always find its level.
It will find its level. It is what was this Charles Dickens says? In my times, the silly idea came slowly from town, but now they travel faster than a stagecoach.
Absolutely.
That's just it.
Absolutely. So you'll be left behind, whether you like it or not, if you don't move.
Yeah, if you don't move, yes.
Okay. You're still listening to the Boombar on your Boom Radio NG. Aderoju Adepoju, Tokunbo Ojekunle, Shola Rogers. We're here, we're talking, and there's a whole lot to unpack. There's so much to, bring out from the experience that is sitting at this table with us. But it's a good time because it's 9 minutes past the hour. That's 9 minutes past 3 o'clock. We've done a good 1 hour plus, and we don't feel like we've done anything. But we want to switch gears now and talk about our guest today. And let's take a look at the man, Aderoju Adepoju. The journey from when he listened on redifusion.
You got it.
You know?
got that too.
Oh, yeah. And how you mentioned some names. I grabbed Ndakuba from that name, and I know one or two names that you mentioned there.
Martin Soko.
Yeah.
Martin Soko. Bagudu Bida. Khalifa Baba Ahmed. Bisi Onobolu. Nike Creek. That Nike Creek is now Mrs. Alade. Atalade. I met them in the studio that day. Right from my town. Just come there. And then, in fact, Inka Creek was there. He was the presenter of this early morning program on NBC. But then, Papa, yeah. Just, there was a day. I said, I want to be an announcer. I said, oh, yeah, we need people. And we were both wearing this Uditola tire slippers.
Slippers.
Yes.
Oh, yourself and Yinka Craig.
Yes. Said,
amazing.
Right.
Amazing times it must have been. So let's talk to you.
I think it started really when you said you left from your town.
So where
Igbora to Ibadan. You pass through Erua, then to Ibadan. Or if you want to take Igbora,
so which primary school did you attend?
I attended a Methodist school, Okeagugu Igbora.
Okeagugu?
Yes, Igbora.
And secondary school?
Secondary school, Igbora High School again.
Right. Then after secondary school, what did you do?
For 2.5 years.
In
Igbora. Primary
Igbora.
school teacher. No, it does. This time, Igongo. You must have had Igongo.
Oh yeah, Sunday Igboho made Igongo very
I was
popular.
there for 2.5 years. From there, Unilag.
All the way to Lagos.
to Lagos.
So then
Wow.
you came to study
English,
English
English and Yoruba
and Yoruba.
education.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
Okay.
combined honors.
combined honors. That's what is in my certificate.
Yeah.
Then I went back again for my masters.
At the same
The
school.
same Unilag. So after that one, because of the death of
Which course did you go back for?
I did Yoruba and advanced syntax, general syntax.
Okay.
So that's so after that one, I was asked to stay behind as a lecturer. which
Really?
Yes, I did for a while. So after that one, something happened. Because my voice will not be heard, it's PPA, which was illegal by then. So I came
That's
back to
that's
Radio
another
Lagos.
story.
It's another story.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
So, but while I was serving at Kafanchan,
You were
Kafanchan
posted to
area,
Kafanchan.
in fact, that was my desire. See, I didn't want to serve in Lagos State. I want Kaduna State.
Had you been?
Fortu-
Have you ever been up north before that
no,
time?
no, it was
It was.
the
It was.
first-
It was.
the
It was
first
from
time
Igbora to Lagos.
to Lagos. Then
Sorry. Igbora to Igongon. Igongon to Lagos.
Lagos
To
to
Kafanchan.
Kafanchan.
And
But I'm
Lagos
not.
movement was the first out of Ibora.
Yes. So that
Wow.
Kafanchan, the town where I sat is called Manchok. Manchok. When they speak, you think they are Chinese people. So I grabbed some.
You
And
learned
then-
a little bit of the dialect or the
Yeah,
language.
yeah, of the language. Then Hausa for Beginners by Neil Armstrong, something like that. I bought that one so that each time I want to go to market, I don't have to be speaking pidgin or English.
Okay.
So Kasuwa, now how much is this?
What was the experience like for a young man
Yes.
from the south
Yes.
living in the north?
That has been my desire. I say I'm tired of Lagos. Let me go north and see how life was there. And it happened. Then when I got there, it was a teacher's college. Then we have another advanced teacher's college
Okay.
there. So, this youthful exuberance, and then the fire in me. I started writing drama plays, asked my students to read, and then I started the debate, the literary and debating society. In fact, we will move. I said, don't come here, we will move to you. So I organized all those things there. And, it was okay. So when I came back, it was when
You
I
went
was
back to Lagos.
back to Lagos. So that was when Nigeria was Nigeria. I had 3 interviews: Lagos, Ogun, Oyo. So it's left, and they came to the campus to interview us.
Interview.
So I had 3 offers. I said, which one do I? Okay.
In Nigeria.
Yes, okay. So that I stopped to Lagos State government. So I was teaching at one secondary school, Sakatinumbu Memorial,
Okay.
Orile Agege.
Agege.
I thought I was teaching there. And then I came to Radio Lagos. I said, I can do this thing. During my secondary school days, we formed this reporters club.
Okay.
So when our football team went to play, I was the commentator. You did this cardboard rolled.
Yeah.
This is Odu babes clashing with so we are under the African shade. Comment. I was running commentary. It was fun for me. It was fun. So when I was on the 16th of October, 1978, my voice went on air first time. October 16th.
On which station?
Radio Lagos.
Radio Lagos.
Radio Lagos. So then
And that is how your journey
that
started.
is how. And then I moved on. And say, there was this question then. How did we cope? Contentment. I said contentment. Then hard work. Hard work. From the knowledge I gained from my lecturers, both English and Yoruba, I was able to start writing film scripts. The first one is Owoblo. Owoblo. So I wrote Owoblo. Owoblo was to take 6 hours. It got to a time we had to terminate it.
No. We need to slow this program down. Which Owo Blue?
The same.
The same owo blow, maybe you.
Ogogo ni owo blow.
Yes.
Owo blow
owo
ni
blow.
ogogo.
But you know, Femi, what's the surname? This Ogabelu's son.
Yeah.
Femi
Adebayo
was the first owo blow.
Owo blow.
While he was in primary or
He was still in school then. Yeah.
Yes, I wrote it.
You wrote Owo blow.
Yes, this man Wale Fanu called me, and then our friend, now a professor at Florida University, Kole, he called me. I wrote that thing for 11 months. So
you wrote Owo blow.
Yes. So, and since then I've had about 4 other ones.
Which other scripts did you write?
Before Beyond. That is what will happen to you before you look at how your
like an out of body experience. Was it something like that?
It's when my mother-in-law died, there was a morgue behind Mobile, Maryland. Okay. So when they are saying, so this is the end. So this is the end. So that thing came, it streamed down my thinking process before Beyond. That's it. I've written Ikpen, I've written Generala. Generala is a campus life.
Campus tale.
Yes. So then all of a sudden I now say, okay, what else can I do? I'll go into music.
Really?
Yeah. I have about 5 CDs now.
Really?
The first one is what's it? I've forgotten the title, but I had all of a sudden, and then I won't in a satiric form, the 10 Commandments.
10 Commandments.
Some that some incidents they are related to known figures. I did it. I've done.
So it was like a satire of sorts.
Fully satire, so it's satiric in nature. And then when the elections drew near, it's just like an appeal to the youths that they should watch.
So we need to redirect this energy and talk about
why
scriptwriter, movie movie writer / producer.
That's right.
And of course, musician. What would you describe your style of music as?
It's poetic in nature. It's poetic.
Right.
It's poetic in nature. There's this Tokunbo Ojekunle. She's a popular singer.
Yeah.
Before, in fact, this what was it? This wine, Bacchus
tonic wine.
This my first singer was what's the name? This what's the name? Yinka Davis.
Yeah.
In fact, he did Laidede Ogara for me.
Yes.
In fact, she was the one I used.
So copywriting was your thing. You did a lot of copies.
I did Bacchus Gala for.
There was a time we used that he's all-time Igbo.
In fact,
he did a lot of Igbo.
Then you see, creativity is key.
Then,
when I started, I developed this Baba Sale Yoruba Buki. Then my co-presenter, he knows well. He's now in Atlanta, Georgia. Kemi Bishi. I say you become a Iyalode Yoruba Buki. So later on I say, that's not enough. Okay, a BYB Lagos State, 21st century king of boys.
Wow.
Then I say it's not enough. BYB Lagos State, 21st century king of boys, Are Ede Kakaoro. Wonderful Worldwide Incorporated. G-Rog. So I now change when they look at the inscription on any of my t-shirts, I say, what is G-Rog? I think it's Aderoju, written in French form. So it's Diiraudz. G-Rog.
I allowed all that to go. I mean, as it was going through, Shola, I was playing memories. The Roach walks into the studio a minute to the news time, collects the bulletin in English, and begins to translate live and direct in Yoruba. Aderoju, I'm asking you this question now.
Yes.
How did you do all that?
You see, when you task yourself, or when you let me in quote punish yourself, it's like the bitter leaf. When you take it, when you sip it, it's bitter. Drink a little bit of water.
Sweeten.
It's sweet.
Yeah.
So that is just my philosophy. And not only news is the bulletin is just 10 minutes. There was a year that I said, I think that was during the time of Major General Muhammadu Buhari.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this voluminous budget.
Yeah.
Say, so I will write this or no? I read it 3 times. I said, oh yeah. I went to the studio.
I remember.
In its raw form.
A raw form with the millions, which I will have to translate into Yoruba. Point something million. I did it.
I
Bam.
remember.
As I came out of the studio, the TV people came. We didn't. Our new studio is not. What's happened? We want to translate it. Yeah,
Let's go.
And that time I was Baba Dudu. You don't understand. So I stayed to TV, set me up, live, bro, back. That thing was so. And 1 hour, 45 minutes
On TV.
on TV and radio too.
Wow.
Without translation, no translation.
You know, like I was talking about the recruiting process, we got a lady who could read the news in Yoruba, and she would do the transcribing and everything by herself. So when we wanted to expand, we wanted to employ another lady, another person, not necessarily a lady, but one of the top contenders was a lady who came and she could read very good Yoruba. You know, so I now said, okay, take this script, because she came with her own Yoruba script. I said, so take this script from the newsroom, go and change, then we'll take you into the studio. And she could not. And she was working for an established radio station in Ibadan then. And we were just coming up in Ibadan. People were hearing about us. She could not. She now resorted to sentiment and pressure. And I looked at her and I said, sorry, lady. I'm sorry.
I'll remind Aderoju of a colleague of ours who came in for Yoruba audition. I think he came in. You were still not too sure about him. And I remember you had but you kept saying, okay, you could try. After much grooming, this guy was allowed to take the 2 o'clock Yoruba news. He had worked on it. He had translated. He did everything. And when he got to that point of it's 2 o'clock, start the whatever, he looked across and saw the road, the other
The boots.
Kubiku.
cubicle.
Yeah. Really?
Come and read it.
Cold feet.
Cold feet.
He was shivering. I said, me?
You remember
You will
the
read
I
this thing.
know.
He was shivering.
Yes.
He was really shivering. Everybody, are you okay? And Aderoju had done everything. You know that they
We
didn't
have
force him.
rehearsed with him.
They had
everything.
rehearsed. They had done everything. They had done everything. So what keeps that confidence in place? I mean, up until now, just as Shola said, this is okay. Maybe a few years down the line, experience is hard. What keeps the confidence in place for you to handle that kind of a task?
You see, when you are in grips with what you are doing and you are confident of yourself. I've argued with a professor. Yoruba. I said, no, in Yoruba language, you don't say aláṣẹ fún ètò ẹ̀kọ́. No. When you are talking of a noun and a qualifier, no item, lexical item must come between the noun, the and the qualified and the qualifier.
Okay.
Even the simplest thing, we don't say Oboju fún ọdẹ, it's Oboju ọdẹ.
Oboju ọdẹ.
Yeah, so why the fún?
Aláṣẹ fún
It's aláṣẹ
So it should be
ètò
aláṣẹ
ẹ̀kọ́,
ètò ẹ̀kọ́.
No lexical item must come between the qualified and the qualifier.
Wow.
Yeah, I've argued. I told our Baba in Egbe Akomodi Yoruba, yeah, this man it's not. You see? So when you are confident of what you know, and it is good to learn more than one language. Do you understand me? It's very good. You know the rules, the syntactic structure of Yoruba. You must know that of English too. No two languages have the same structure.
No,
That's
they
the
don't.
first thing in grammatical theory. But here now, in most stations, you hear English sentence constructions in Yoruba. That's what you have. So when you have it, you give it out. They know me. I do training for them all over your state, Ogun State, Lagos. I know all this rubbish is out of tune.
When you say all this rubbish, I see a strong fusion between not knowing what English should be and what knowing what Yoruba should be.
That is it.
And my question now is, you are concerned, like as many other people.
Really.
How do we get about getting it right?
You see, I think the Lagos State government, took a decision some years back, which is very good, that you must learn your mother tongue. Do you understand? You must learn it. Then let the authorities concerned concentrate on teaching our people. It's not just alaga fún ti òní or ètò wa fún ti òní. You are not presenting your program for today. You are presenting it today. That's a sharp difference. Then you must know the rules binding sentence constructions in English and then that of Yoruba. Where do they differ? What makes them to be different? You understand? You know, when like somebody said last week, said, when I think Yoruba, but by the time I put it out, it becomes English. No, but that one is with the notion that you know the rules guiding the two languages. So we still have a lot to do. So that, UN said sometimes that very soon there's nothing, that will be nothing like Yoruba language again. Not that it will not be spoken, but we will not be speaking Yoruba, but we'll be speaking English in Yoruba.
And that's where my fear is.
It's a scary thought. No, please go ahead.
Yeah, because right now
it's a scary thought.
Are we really losing it? Okay, you go on air. You listen to radio stations these days, a lot. Okay, respect to yours that you're on. You listen to some radio stations these days, and you are a little bit miffed by the way we interpret things. We give interpretation to things, to things, maybe issues, maybe thoughts,
Exactly.
and it boils down to being colloquial in some cases. Yeah, you get a Yoruba name, deeply rooted name, and you give me the American version of that name, and you think it's real. Okay, it's still part of training and grooming and
Yes.
yeah. Now, what would you say? Well, because every station you have gatekeepers.
Exactly. Yes.
So when things are left undone for too long, it becomes a norm. Especially in the mind of that person who
Exactly.
does not know and does not know that he or she does not know.
That's a conscious effort turning abnormality to norm. You see. So when you now say this is how it should be, they look at you as if you are talking Greek. They stick to what is wrong. They think it's right. So you see, politics aside, let's concentrate on professionalism. You may bring 10 people to a radio station if they are not useful in presentation department. Take them to admin. That is it. It's not, they'll be collecting their salary. But when you put a square peg to a round, it will show. Broadcasting is Mr. Nakedness. People will know. So I think we need to have a rethink about this. In fact, Me, I said, in 5 years' time, what will be the fate of broadcasting? Because those people, you mentioned some people the other time, they are fading out stylishly. So in 5 years' time, who do we have? Those that are half-baked, and then they be at the...
And they'll be the ones training the people coming.
Yes, they'll be the one in charge.
Talking
2
of-
minutes, sorry.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead,
I mean,
sir.
30 seconds after, let's say 3:30 for bulletin. 30 seconds after, you can't read it again.
It's
But
failed.
But now it's, everybody will be laughing. Okay, go and take it.
So just take it. Don't worry. So, this was Aderoju, who found his way from his own village to Lagos, then to Kafanchan, then back to Lagos. And his love had always been broadcasting. And he found his way to Eko FM, Radio Lagos, Tiwa.
Yes.
Your strength was not just in the knowledge you had acquired in school, it was also in your character and your ability to assimilate. Who were the people that you met? Who were the individuals that you met on ground that were your contemporaries and your ogas?
Yes.
Who were those people?
Well, the first person is no more now. Bisi Lawrence. A walk.
Bizlaw. Respect to Bizlaw.
This a man says, okay. When do you have names? I say I have by 6 p.m. This is just after 4. Let's go and have some.
Just sit down and take a drink or two.
And he will be cracking jokes with you, and he'll be looking
Watching
at the time.
Yeah.
Watching the time. So whether you will stand up, say, sir, I have
I
this
need
by
to be
6.
on air.
No, he'll be joking with you until it's after 6. When he gets back to the office, it's cool. You have to get a query.
I was castigated for doing this at my, because I did the same thing. I take my guys, but this one in my office. So I open the fridge, take what you want. I'm watching the time, like, you're live at 4. But trust them, they know that worst case scenario, 5 minutes before, okay, yes, let's go. And the one that doesn't go, I will give him another drink. Don't worry. So, Bizlaw was a major influence on you.
Yes.
Who were the other people?
Then Mrs. Tomi Oguntayo. Yes, the head of programs then. You must dot your T. In totality, you must do everything.
Cutting of corners or anything.
No, at all. And she listened a lot. That program, so after 15 minutes of your presentation, you said something like, what's that? So then Alhaji Bayo Tijani, my Oga and my Egbon. So this, and then Alhaji Ayasalam, Tokunbo Ojekunle, Tokunbo Ojekunle, Tokunbo Bakare, we all colleagues.
You all work
there.
together.
Charles Shaporija, Shuporija, this guy may be these people, what's the name? Ogundiran, Benga Ogundiran, then there's this at Okwaba, it's now a pastor in UK.
Okay.
Lanre Ogundimu. No, these were people. Then when you talk of generally, broadcasters, do like I said, Magudu Bida.
Yes.
Martin Soko, 4 p.m. news, national. You want to lick his lips without seeing him. Martin Soko, Nkenanda Guba, this man, he was the MD Linters then. I forgot. No, Ejiofor. Then there's this